Hey, what's up guys? It's Nova King here, and today I'm bringing you a guide on how to beat the Cowabunga Cranked Easter egg on the tomb. Now, for those of you who are still unfamiliar with this game mode, I'll give you a quick breakdown on how it works. So it essentially introduces a new feature called the Crank Timer. Now this timer, it runs out until you get zombie kills, and that is how you refill it. If it runs down all the way to 0, you essentially get insta-killed. So make sure to keep an eye on that timer and do not let it hit 0. Now this game mode also features 3 new power-ups. 2 of them are timer based. One is called the pizza box, which refills your crank timer all the way to the maximum. And the other one is slice of pie, which adds just partial time to the timer. So it's pretty easy to see these. They just look like pizza. One's a box, one's just a pizza slice. Pretty easy to understand that way. So leave these on the ground for as long as you can so that when you pick them up, you gain the maximum amount of time possible to add to your crank timer. The other power-up is called Turtle Power. This gives you one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles melee weapons, and they are essentially insta-kill towards all the zombies. Now, given that headshots give you more points than melee, this power-up is relatively not useful for us. We can leave it on the ground for the most part, maybe just pick it up if you're really in a pinch. One very important thing to note in this game mode is that when you land your headshots, you actually get double points on those headshots. And say there's a double points power-up on the ground, you can actually get quadruple points with that power-up. Another exclusive feature of this game mode is the field upgrade, Donnie's Timer Stopper, and that's going to go ahead and freeze your timer for you for a minute. It gives you an ugly green screen, so that's not so great, but it can be pretty crucial for you in some moments where you're running low on that time and it catches you a little bit off guard. Pop that field upgrade and you'll be good for a minute. So in regards to the tomb Easter egg on Cowabunga Cranked in particular, it happens to be the easiest Easter egg to do on this game mode because of the fact that they give you such a lenient timer compared to the other maps. So given that fact, it's not as important through these earlier rounds to really take a look at this crank timer and make sure it's kept to the maximum, because you also don't really want to fly through your rounds either. So 1 or 2 zombie kills refills the timer enough on this map where you don't really need to be too concerned about this timer. Just make sure it's not hitting 0 or anything. Another important thing to note, if you really are, losing track of this timer, it does start beeping once it reaches like the halfway point. So just keep an ear out for that as well. So my gun recommendation for this map is the GPR. I think this thing is fantastic in this map. It shreds elites. It's also pretty accurate, so you can get your headshots pretty easy. Another gun people would recommend is the ASG, and that's what I normally rock, but in this game mode, since you want to get your headshots, I find the GPR more versatile in that category. So what I like to do when starting out is proceed as normal, open all the doors, open the Dark Ether. I like to get all my perks, at least the standard ones that you need, which the ones that I recommend are PhD Flopper, Jug, Quick Revive, Stamina Up, and Speed Cola. Those will help you through those lockdown rounds. It's not required, but get them as you need. Note that you can also get a free perk through the Molotov Braziers in the Catacombs. So you might as well do that before getting any of the perks to see if maybe you get one of the crucial ones that you need from it. I usually end up getting Death's Perception or something not so useful, but it's free anyway, so just go ahead and pick it up. And the most important part is to set up your next steps for the Easter eggs so that you're not waiting around for these crystals after round 8. So start moving those crystals towards the locations where they need to be, and you'll be all set up for after you get the monocle from the Shock Mimic in round 8. So before this Shock Mimic spawns, go ahead and head down into the Dark Ether and do the free Pack-a-Punch side Easter egg where you shoot all the rocks. You have to shoot all 5 of them in a short period of time. This can be a little bit tricky at times, but you get the hang of it the more times you do it. What I recommend is finding the slowest moving rock first and shooting that one, so that way the other 4 are easier to find because they're going across your screen faster. So of course the next step would be to kill the shock mimic and get the golden monocle. In here I'm doing it with a non-pack punched weapon, so it takes a lot longer than it should. At this point you should be having the pack punched GPR as well as some perks as well. So this guy will go down a lot easier with your pack punched gun. So once you get this golden monocle, go ahead and go over to your murals, which should be lit up with the Roman numerals right now, as you shot your crystals and prepared it for this step. And go ahead and shoot the Roman numerals in order as normal. The only caveat is now you have a bunch of zombies chasing you. You can't really leave one at the end of the round. So here you can use things like decoys, smoke grenades, whatever you have at that moment to get zombies off of you. It's not required, but it definitely does help sometimes. Other than that, you could just train the zombies and go to the mural, shoot the Roman numerals, take your time with it, and pick off some zombies here and there to make sure that the timer doesn't run too low. In this gameplay, I'm really letting them hit my back because I have this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle skin, so I'm kind of cheesing here. They let you... I'm basically taking like 20 hits from behind and I'm solid, you know. It's not required, but if you have that turtle skin, you don't really need to worry too much about this stuff anyway. So once you shoot all the Roman numerals in order, this will commence a lockdown. And so there will be 2 lockdowns that you have to do. It's going to take up 2 rounds essentially, and you have to kill like a couple mimics and a couple doppelgasts, and your tier 1 pack punched GPR should be very good enough for you to go ahead and pass these rounds pretty easily. And then you will get your headpiece and your staff. And note, you also get a max ammo after each of these lockdowns. So now that you have the staff and the headpiece, go ahead and head to the Dark Ether, start the next step. At this point, I would recommend for you to have a tier 2 Pack-a-Punch blue rarity weapon, and this will just make this step so much easier because you're going to be mowing down these zombies in front of you. And I would recommend just training around that open area in front of the staff and shooting at the purple glowing zombies, parasites, and vermin as they are running over to the staff. As long as you're keeping an eye on the staff, you should be good to go for this step. And now you'll have your ice staff. So go ahead and pick it up and go through the red portal and shoot your 3 crystals in a row. I recommend these 3. One thing you could definitely do is make sure that the crystals are in a location where you can shoot them fast. I wouldn't really worry too much because as long as you have stamina up and PhD flopper with the PhD slider, you can shoot these crystals with your staff pretty quickly. So head back into the Dark Ether, shoot your rocks with the symbols on them, memorize the symbols, go to the wall, shoot the symbols in the order. During these steps, while you're having the zombies chasing after you, just do as you did for the lockdown. Train them around, come back to the spots, try to memorize what you got to memorize, shoot what you got to shoot, and this will not be too difficult. So then you do this orb step, and this gun just makes it so easy. I'm killing the shock mimics like it's nothing, the doppelgasts. The amalgam could be a little bit annoying, but just try to avoid them, honestly, and shoot the zombies around them, and you should be fine. The most important thing for this step is you make sure you stay right next to the orb, shooting the zombies around it to refill it, and follow it around. Don't get too far or else it will despawn. So just follow it around, kill the zombies, and this step will be over pretty quickly with your GPR. And then you'll have your Ol's arrow. And immediately after, just go ahead and run to the statue and start doing your rituals. This will be your vermin statue I recommend to do first, and that's going to be in the spawn area. You could just leverage your L's arrow during all of this, your ice staff, charged attack. It just decimates everything, and that's basically what you do for the vermin round. And then you pick up the orb, go to a different portal, into the Dark Ether, put it back into the statue, and go start on your next one. That will be the fly one, and you go into the stamina up room for this ritual, and it spawns a bunch of flies, and this is similar to the terminus step where you have to pick up the orbs and put them in the designated soul box. And for this step, just make sure to keep track of those orbs when they fall from the flies and putting them into the statue. If you need, use your GPR instead of the staff to make sure you're shooting the flies with the purple glow, so where you know exactly where the orbs are going to land after killing the flies, so you can pick them up and take them to the statue. The next ritual is the Doppelgast, and for this, you could pick your poison here. Just use the Ice Staff, honestly. The Ice Staff's charged attack wipes these things out really fast and can help you out with, the amount of Doppelgast that spawns sometimes can be a little hectic to just use your GPR. So use your Ice Staff's charged blasts, and this step will be a pretty easy one too. And last but not least is the Amalgam Ritual. This one is also pretty easy, especially with your GPR. And I absolutely recommend to shoot the insta-kill power-up. It's free. It's right on top of the ritual. So it's very convenient for this battle. Definitely use it. And when the zombie spawns that has that protection charm on the amalgam, just kill that zombie and you'll be able to go ahead and lay damage onto the amalgam again. And this step will not last nearly as long with that insta-kill and your Pack-a-Punch 2 blue rarity GPR. So after you do all the rituals, you will at this point be boss fight ready, at least in the steps. I recommend to go to round 21, and because this is where you'll get your legendary ether tool from that waterfall step. So at this point, you just go through the rounds, get to 21, and get your golden ether tool. So now you should have a gold rarity, tier 3 Pack-a-Punched GPR, as well as obviously your Ice Staff. Make sure you're fully plated up, as well as having all your perks. And I recommend having monkey bombs or Casimir devices or just decoys just to get the zombies off of you at certain points throughout the fight. They can come in very clutch at times. And also throw in a mutant injection in there for that amalgam step. So now that you are ready to start the boss fight, go ahead and start the Sentinel artifact. And for these first 4 phases of this boss fight, you're going to want to stick to the outer edge of the arena in that sheltered area, because this is where the zombies are going to spawn, and so you can kind of train the zombies around the arena while also being protected with the shelter from the Sentinel artifact. And just focus on keeping your timer filled up by killing some zombies here and there. And I recommend for you to keep some zombies around you for after the phase is ended and you have to shoot the Sentinel artifact, because what happens is when you're done shooting at the Sentinel artifact and it is in that transitional period between phases, there can be a respawn delay of the zombies. So you definitely want to make sure you have a couple around for after you're done shooting the Sentinel artifact, just in case you need to kill some zombies to refill some of that crank timer in between. You can of course still launch a charged Ice Staff attack so that you can go ahead and focus fire on the Sentinel artifact. But just be mindful that if you do this, you run the risk of not having any zombies after you're done damaging that Sentinel artifact. So you can do this if you have a full timer, and then once you collect the max ammo in between rounds, just sprint back to the outer edge of the arena and get the first zombie that spawns. So these first 4 phases are pretty easy, but now it's going to get a lot more challenging with these next 4 phases. So during these next 4 phases, if you don't know already, you have 4 different rounds of different basically side bosses that will spawn with a red Sentinel artifact attached to them. You have to make sure to go ahead and kill them, but also keep your distance from them, because if you're too close, they can deal a heck of a lot of damage to you. So keep your distance, charge your Ice Staff shots at them, and shoot them with your GPR. And once the Sentinel artifact is dropped from them, you have to lay down your damage into that Sentinel artifact. So when this side boss is close to getting down, make sure to shoot a charged ice staff shot, finish the boss, and stand in that ice staff shot and focus fire on that Sentinel artifact, or else it will become invincible and you have to start the round all over again. So first it will be on a zombie, next they'll put it on a doppelgast, and then it'll go on a shock mimic, and then finally you have to take down the amalgam. At this point, if you did grab the mutant injection, you can use it on that amalgam step, and then just use it to take down the other elites and save the amalgam for last, so that way you don't have any of the other elites chasing you as you shoot down this Sentinel artifact. And then once you're finished with all of these 4 phases, the hard part is finally over, because now all you need to do is make sure to do this last part correctly. And if you have a tier 3 Pack-a-Punched GPR gold rarity, this step should be cake for you, because all you need to do is just follow that last Sentinel artifact to that wall and charge an ice staff shot around you, so it will take care of the zombies around you and refill your timer, and lay your damage onto that thing, and it should be done in about 2 magazines. Definitely on this step, there are no second chances. You have to make sure to lay your damage onto that Sentinel artifact and until it's done. And so once you've destroyed it, that's it. You have completed the Tomb Easter egg on Cowabunga Cranked. So if you thought this guide was helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And let me know in the comment section below if you were able to follow this guide along and complete it for yourself. And subscribe for more content. I am definitely planning on making more zombies videos in the future. So I will see you guys back at this channel in a later video. So farewell, my friends. Nova King out.